Hey y'all, so it's the week before spring break. Students are crazy, teachers are crazy. We're all ready for spring break. And this week, the week before Thanksgiving break, the week before Christmas break, and the week before school gets out, it's just, how do I even describe this? I can't even find words, but I'm tired. And so I came home and it's just Jimmy and I here tonight. Wyatt's working, Sarah's working, Rachel went to Bible study. And I was like, okay, I really don't feel like cooking anything from scratch today. And it's hard when you're not craving anything. I mean, what do you cook? When you have no appetite really, but you know you need to eat. I mean, what do you cook? And do y'all have a go-to meal? If you do, share it down in the comments because I would love to know. I mean, it's just, but my family and I have found that we like the Velveeta skillet meals. They're much better than the Hamburger Helper. And sure, I could do something from scratch, but I don't really want to. But, so I used some canned chicken because I didn't have any chicken thawed out. And this is their mix and chop, the new one that you can like stir with and scoop with. So when I want to break it up, I can still do the same thing that I've been doing, but now I don't have to stop and get out a spoon or something else. I can still work with this same, kitchen tool for the whole meal. How awesome is that? So I'm just gonna get this going, let it simmer for about 20 minutes, and then dinner will be done. I'll probably fix some kind of vegetable, maybe peas or something. That way, it's a well-rounded meal because that's what we need. I used to worry about that when my kids were little, about making sure that, had vegetables, starch, protein, that it was well-balanced. And now it's very rare that we're all home together for a meal. Last time it happened was last Friday when it was Wyatt's birthday. Now, I will give it to my children. They will take off a day for their siblings' birthdays. A day from work to make sure that they are here for it. I guess they know how important birthdays are in this family. And it's not that we do extravagant things, because we don't. It's just, the day to celebrate, when God blessed us with them. And I can't think of any other way to put it. So, but yeah, it's just just Jimmy and I tonight. And same thing last night. Last night I made French toast. I was like, hey, Jimmy, you want some French toast? He's like, yeah, sure. So I made French toast, cooked bacon, and that's what we had for dinner. Well, Wyatt gets home and, Rachel gets home. She eats the rest of the bacon because there's like 4 pieces left. And then Wyatt gets home from work like 9 something. And he's like, did y'all have pancakes for dinner? I was like, no, I made French toast. He's like, oh, that sounds good. And he opens up the refrigerator. He's like, where is it? I was like, there isn't any left. I only made enough for your daddy and I. And I could just hear the disappointment in the sigh. And he's, I was like, hon, you got to tell me when you want dinner when you come home. Because half the time I'll cook and then they don't eat what I cook. They come home and they grab something else. And so now it's like, okay, I'll cook and I'm going to put it up for you. But when you come home, that's what you're going to eat. And to heck with this cooking 3-4 different meals. That's ridiculous. So does your family do leftovers? Let me know down in the comments. I grew up, we had leftovers. And I know my husband, same thing. But his brother did not eat leftovers. Did not like them at all. I'm sure he ate them growing up. But he did not like them. And I know some people don't eat leftovers. What's your time frame that you keep them in the refrigerator? If they're in a sealed container, put up in the refrigerator, do you say 1 week, 5 days? My husband's like 3 days, tops, that's it. Then it goes. He doesn't trust it after that. Unless it's in a really good sealed airtight container. My parents were always like, okay, it's been in there a week, it's time to go. But we also didn't throw away a lot of food growing up. And I know my husband absolutely did not. Because they didn't have much to start with. You just didn't. I see kids today at school, they'll get a lunch. And at our school, they don't have to pay for lunch. No one has to pay for lunch this year. So they'll go and get a lunch. They'll get a milk, bottle of milk. They'll go sit down, or they'll just literally walk by and just dump it in the trash. Milk too, unopened. Why? Why? It burns me up. It makes me so angry when they do that. I mean, what is the point? That's so wasteful. And I know I've been told, like, it's just going to get thrown out anyways if it's not eaten. But why can't we use the leftover food and send it to, shelters and homes that might need it instead of throwing it away and wasting it? That's just, we just didn't throw food away like that. And it just, yeah, that's one thing that gets me. Anyways, sorry, I've been ranting on. Let me get some water real quick. 2 cups of water. Have y'all ever tried the Velveeta skillet meals? It was funny when my kids were little. I had to have a procedure done. And so my husband went grocery shopping. Took the kids. They were little. So he goes grocery shopping. He comes back with cans of Chef Boyardee and boxes of Hamburger Helper and everything. And I know, he went grocery shopping, so can't complain. Well, he fixes the Chef Boyardee, puts it at the table. The kids don't eat it. They don't even touch it. They're like, what is this? And he's like, it's Chef Boyardee. And he's like, have our kids never had Chef Boyardee? I was like, no, they haven't. Then the next night, he fixes Hamburger Helper. They don't touch it. They're like, we don't like this. And he's like, what's wrong with y'all? I'm like, Jimmy, I don't cook from a box. Everything when they were little, I cooked from scratch. I didn't do prepackaged meals and things like that. Box meals. Even though I had them growing up, I didn't cook it for them. And, my kids were those that when we went to the grocery store, they were allowed one food item of their choice. And most of the time it was fruit. They wanted fruit. And fruit was so much more expensive than the junk food that wasn't good for them. That's crazy. What has happened in our country that things are so out of whack that junk food, pure sugar and, artificial dyes and flavors and all of that is cheaper than fruit and vegetables? I mean, that don't make any sense. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to get a lid, put it on this, let this go for let it come to a boil and then let it simmer for about 20 minutes. And I'm going to call it a day. I guess I'll go grade some papers. My husband's upstairs working. And no one else is here. So I'll get some papers graded. That way I don't have to grade over spring break. Yay! All right, y'all. Have a great night. And please, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it. I hope y'all have a great night. Blessings out.